my daisy chain, so if I lost a hatch, it cannot float off. Okay. Now, because of the severity, if I had to use these, this is a flare pack. I carry this clipped to the little toggle on the back of my back support. We don't say rest anymore because people tend to lean on them. Okay, so if I came out of my boat, I'm in the water, I've got hold of my boat, and I need to attract the helicopter's attention, I could pull one of these handheld smoke flares out of here. I'm not going to be rooting around in the back of a hatch trying to find the kit. Okay. Now the thing about flares, over the years, I think it's true to say that people are moving away from pyrotechnics simply because, you know, it's like basically holding an explosive device, like a great big firework, and sometimes when you let them off, you know, they could be a bit of a flash, they potentially could be the hazard of a burn or something, and they also have a shelf life. And the thing about a shelf life is, it's not always easy to dispose of them afterwards. You may have to go to an appropriate authority, hand it in, because it is, you know, technically classed as an explosive device. What most people now carry are the electronic types. Okay, much safer. I would also carry one of these in my cockpit. Okay, again, it's got a nice lead tether on it. This is incredibly bright. I don't suggest you look intently at these when you let them off, because it will you'll definitely lose your focus for a minute or two. Okay, so obviously housekeeping wise, you want to make sure the battery is good. I do keep mine in a little BDH container purely as a secondary sort of waterproofing, but it's very quick and easily accessible should I need it. And again, that has quite a range, good mile or so, and that's an electronic flare. Okay, and there's my C6 tablets, right close to hand in my little dry bag that I keep actually in my cockpit, so I don't even have to take a hatch cover off for that. Okay. So, in the back of my boat, I have a full set of dry clothes. So, the scenario is someone's taken a bit of a swim and they're feeling very wet, and people aren't going to warm up all the time they've got that cold, wet kit on them. So the best solution is to get them to the land, dry them off. Okay, remove the wet gear. So I'll carry a small micro fleece towel, exceptionally space saving, and it works very well. So I can dry them off. I can put them in some dry clothes. Again, I've got these Reed Chill Cheetah fleeces. Again, they're exceptionally warm, and they are got a high wicking factor, so they would again repel moisture from the surface. So I've got some exceptionally good dry kit. Now, as a coach and kite leader, let's say I'm not of a small disposition. So what I've done is I've actually got one my size and one small, because I would if someone was to get my shirt on, they'd absolutely swamp them, and I don't think that would be as warm. So I carry a couple of those different sizes, and again I have another spare coverall just so I can keep the casualty nice and warm, and I have a foil blanket. Which is actually a jacket, so I can put them in this if they're really starting to get a bit chilly, and also if we've decided to wait a while, I've got a 2-person shelter. Okay, I've also got an 8 to 10 man shelter, exceptionally space saving, small little thing. We're talking outside of COVID protocols now, when we can get up and close personal to people. But what we would do is get inside here, use the body heat generated by the person that's dry and fit and healthy to help warm up the casualty, and also we're being protected from the weather, the wind or the rain, and it's quite surprising how quickly you warm up once you're in a shelter. Fantastic bit of kit and taking up, you know, hardly any space whatsoever. So that's what I'm carrying in the back of my boat. That's not stuff I need to grab instantly. Stuff that I would carry that would be quite accessible. I've got a paddle float here, okay. If you come on any courses where you learn how to do self-rescue stuff, basically we would inflate it. If for whatever reason we cannot get ourselves back in our kayak conventionally via a cowboy rescue, scramble back on board, or a re-entry and roll up, or there's no one around to buddy up to do a conventional pier rescue, we might decide to use a paddle float. So once that's inflated and it's very, very buoyant, we can put obviously the two-piece paddle, we can put it across our cockpit, use it almost like an outrigger to give us extra stability to climb back on board, okay? So that is a patch-your-pants bit of kit, should you, for whatever reason, struggling to get back in your boat. But we'll carry that quite accessible. I also carry like a whitewater sling, which I've turned into a strop. So should you have someone that is struggling to get back in, even though you're assisting them, we can use this as a stirrup, put it around the cockpit, and that just enables them to put their foot in to get a bit of a leg up to get into their boat, okay? Don't need to use it very often, but if it's cold and someone's had 2 or 3 attempts at trying to get back in their boat, they generally tire quite quickly. If they're not regularly paddling, they probably haven't got a level of paddle fitness. You know, it's amazing how quickly when you're bobbing around the water and that you start to feel quite fatigued. So that is a really, really clever use of an old sling. Similarly, I carry a contact tow on the front of my boat. When you come on one of the rescue training courses, you'll learn how to use it. Again, a very versatile bit of kit, but also something that could be quite easily utilised again as a stirrup, just by extending it and clipping it over the side of someone's boat. You could make that into a stirrup, so therefore they could use that to put their foot in and step up onto their boat, okay? So I really encourage you, if you're just starting out, to put yourself on a course, find out local provider, and just learn how to do all the basic self-rescues. It might not necessarily be yourself rescuing yourself. You might come across someone else that's fallen out and struggling to get back in. So these skills, you know, are not wasted. At some point you will